All right, let's start with a number. On the surface, it sounds like absolutely incredible news for India's entire accounting profession.
So right now, India has just under 5 lakh chartered accountants. But the president of the ICAI recently projected that by 2050, India is going to need 50 lakh CAs. That's a tenfold increase, a 10x jump in just a couple of decades.
But here's the twist. In the very same breath, the ICAI launched a brand new AI platform. And they say this platform can save accountants 70 to 80% of their time on all those routine tasks. And if you're getting insights like this, you might want to subscribe. Because that brings us to the real question that nobody seems to be asking.
If AI is really about to handle that much of the work, who exactly needs all those 50 lakh CAs? And, maybe more importantly, which part of today's profession is already on its way to becoming obsolete? Stick with me for a few minutes because the answer could really redefine your entire career for the next decade.
Okay, let's dive into this. We really have to start with what ICAI's president actually said. Because, you see, most people just heard the headline, and they completely missed the warning that was hidden right inside of it.
So, on the surface, this sounds fantastic, right? But we have to read between the lines here. India doesn't currently produce anywhere near enough CAs to hit that number through just normal growth. So something else has to change. And that something is the very nature of what a CA does. You see, the ICAI is not saying India needs 50 lakh people doing what so many CAs do today. Filing returns, doing reconciliations, answering notices. No. The crucial point is, India needs 50 lakh people who can do what AI cannot. And this is the list that actually matters: advisory, professional judgment, business strategy, ethics, and building real client relationships. This defines a completely different kind of professional from the one that many firms are still training today. The CA whose day is filled with routine audits, data entry, or endless GST reconciliations, well, that is the role that AI is quietly but very quickly making redundant.
So let's get specific. Let's talk about what AI is already replacing. Vague fear doesn't help anyone. Hard data does.
Okay, so a recent Stanford study found that accountants who were using AI to close their monthly books did it 7.5 days faster. But what's really interesting here is that the senior accountants benefited way more than the juniors. And why is that? Well, it's because they had the experience. They knew when to trust the AI's output and, crucially, when to override it. Now, this points to a really clear global trend. In the UK, the Big Four firms have seen their graduate job listings fall by 44% year on year. I mean, that is a staggering drop. And that same Stanford research, it confirmed that hiring for junior AI-impacted accounting roles fell 16% in just 2 years. So the data is consistent across the board. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Okay, but that's the UK. That's not India. And you know what? That's a fair point. But let's take a closer look at what this trend really means for India specifically. And actually, I'm curious, what AI tools are you seeing pop up in your own firms? Drop them in the comments. I'd genuinely like to know. See, for years, India's big 4 global capability centers, those massive back office hubs, they thrived because Indian labor was cheaper for all those routine tasks. But AI is now even cheaper. The entire economic advantage is shifting right under our feet. The work that's going to remain safe isn't based on volume anymore. It's based on judgment. And this brings us to the core insight of this entire explainer. Right now, as we speak, the CA profession in India is splitting into 2 very distinct groups. First, you've got Group 1. I call this the volume CA. Their value is measured in processing, how many returns they can file, how many reconciliations they can complete. Their billing is directly tied to hours. And AI directly threatens this model because it's simply faster and cheaper. Then there's Group 2, the advisory CA. Their value is in what they know. Clients pay them for their judgment, for their strategy. And for this professional, AI is an incredibly powerful tool, not a replacement. Those 50 lakh CAs India needs, they're all going to come from Group 2. So the question is pretty simple, isn't it? Which group are you building your career towards? If this question is resonating with you, maybe share this with a colleague. It's a conversation that more of us in this profession really need to be having.
Now, if you're a CA student right now, your articleship years, well, they are your most dangerous window. And here's why. Historically, articleship taught you the profession by making you do the grunt work, right? You learned auditing by doing it thousands and thousands of times. But that grunt work is now being automated.
And this means if you go through your articleship in 2025, doing the exact same tasks that juniors did back in 2015, you are literally training for a job that is already shrinking.
The students who are going to win are the ones who go beyond just the task. They're going to be the ones who understand why the task exists, what judgment their senior is making after reviewing the output, and how to communicate that judgment to a client. That isn't a soft skill. That is a survival skill. Any firm that is still running its articleship program like a volume machine is frankly preparing its students for the vulnerable group.
But here is the part that does not get nearly enough attention. This exact same shift is creating the single biggest opportunity for Indian CAs that this profession has seen in decades. Remember those senior accountants in the Stanford study? Well, they gained 8.5% more time every single month just by using AI well. Now that's time that got redirected from processing to thinking. A CA with 10 years of experience who adds AI fluency to their skill set can handle the client advisory load that used to require a team of 5 people. That's not a threat, that is leverage. The Indian CA who understands AI tools, not just how to use them, but how to design workflows around them and validate their outputs, that person becomes indispensable. And this is where the real gap in the market is right now. You see, most senior CAs have incredibly deep domain expertise, but they often lack AI fluency. On the other side, most AI professionals have the tech skills, but they lack the deep domain knowledge. The person who can bridge that gap, who can sit right at that intersection, becomes extraordinarily valuable. And for those who are serious about bridging that gap, this is exactly the kind of strategic advisory we provide. So I'll leave you with this question. In the next 12 months, what is the one thing you are going to do to move yourself from Group 1 towards Group 2? Because the window to make that shift on your own terms is open right now. But believe me, it will not stay open forever. Subscribe, watch next.